Let's start learning how to use the basic tools that we'll be using the most in this course. Open up Adobe Illustrator, come to your File menu and select New. Make sure the units for this new document are pixels. Give it a 1000 pixel width by a 1000 pixel height. And in the advanced section over here, make sure your color mode is RGB and then click OK. As you can see, you have now created a new document with the dimensions you have specified. The first tool that we will be learning how to use is the selection tool, and it is a very important tool and we will be using it a lot in this course. You can access the selection tool either by coming here to your toolbox and clicking on it, or by pressing the letter V on your keyboard. You can see the keyboard shortcut for any tool by just hovering over it with your mouse. In order for us to learn how to use the selection tool, we need to first create an object so we can demonstrate on that object how to use that tool. Let's go ahead and pick up our rectangle tool. Click on it, then come here, click and drag out a rectangle of any shape or size. Then release your mouse. Let me zoom in a little bit. As you can see, as soon as I created this new rectangle, and as soon as I create any new object for that matter, you can see that there's a blue bounding box surrounding the boundaries of my object, which means this object is selected by default as soon as you create it. And when the object is selected, that is when you can make changes to that object regarding color, stroke, or any other effects. Let's pick up our selection tool and click anywhere in our workspace except on the object, because we want to deselect this object. If I click here, I can no longer see that blue box that was bounding my object, which means it is no longer selected. If I come back on the object with my selection tool and then click on it, I can see this blue box again, which means it is now selected. So that is the first use of the selection tool, to select an object so you can make changes to it. Now that it is selected, I can come up here and give it a fill color by clicking on this arrow and choosing a fill color that I like. I can also fill it up with a gradient or perhaps a pattern. Also, I can change the stroke of that object. The stroke is the boundaries of the object that surround it. And if you look here, you can see it has a black stroke. But if you look on the object, you can't really see a black stroke. And that is because the stroke weight over here is set to 1 point, which is too small to be seen. So if you come to this upper arrow and click on it just a couple of times, you can see that you have increased the stroke and it is now visible that it is a black stroke. You can also change the color of the stroke to any color that you like. That is how we use the selection tool to select an object to make changes to that object regarding fill color and stroke color. And of course, there are many other changes and effects we can do we will be learning about in later lectures.